It is Saturday, January 9th, 2021. Thank you for joining in today. We want to talk about some tragic news. We're starting to see this happen more often, starting to see more news stories out there about evictions, people losing their homes, and some very tragic situations here and dire situations that a lot of people are in. And unfortunately, I think we're going to see this happening a lot more often as we have so many people that are basically right on the edge of the financial cliff, and the only thing that's keeping a roof over many people's heads is these moratoriums that we've talked about here so many times. But let's take a look at a couple of recent stories here. Now, we'll just talk briefly about this one. This was reported out of click2houston.com. I had seen that this was reported through a few different channels already, so I won't go into too much detail. But what happened was a SWAT team was called out to evict a homeowner, and this was in Deer Park, Texas. And the homeowner was not going easily. And you also have to question the point, is he a homeowner? Because people that even pay off their homes can still get their homes pulled away from them for many reasons. Okay, but this was a very scary situation. The SWAT team was deployed to an eviction scene in Deer Park after a person pulled a, let's call it a self-defense unit. At approximately 5 a.m., deputies with Precinct 8 Constables office were in the area to serve a court-ordered eviction. When deputies contacted the resident through the front door, he said he was not coming out, and then racked a self-defense unit and threatened to shoot the deputies. The deputies backed away, called in SWAT. Authorities are now working jointly to bring this to a safe conclusion for all involved, per Chris Brown, the lieutenant. And sadly, we're likely to see this more and more and more. Even right now, there's supposedly evictions and moratoriums in certain locations. But even the federal eviction protections were, a lot of people fell through the cracks in many cases. And this is what happens when people are at the end. I mean, you lose the roof over your head. Imagine yourself, all right, just imagine the feeling. And I hope nobody listening to this report today has went through this themselves, but imagine the feeling of living at a residence, putting time, money, energy, blood, sweat, and tears into it sometimes. When you buy a home, you fix it up, you pay the taxes. Even if you're renting, you pay sometimes for years and years and years, time and energy again, and it gets pulled away from you. And now you're looking at taking yourself or your family to a homeless shelter. Maybe you're moving in with family or relatives. Maybe God forbid you're looking at a tent city, right? Who knows? Hopefully you have shelter, someplace to go if this happens. There's a surge in people buying motorhomes and RVs, maybe for that reason. But this is absolutely devastating. And when someone has to pull a self-defense unit because a SWAT team is at their door, it's just a real sad situation. And I hope something can be done to change the course of this country and this financial situation, this economic situation. Unfortunately, it doesn't look like there's many solutions out there at all that anyone is discussing. All right, sure, they'll send out a stimulus check every few months to try to keep the people from uprising, but there's no major structural changes being discussed. So sadly, we're likely to see more stories like this in the near future. Here's another recent report. This was just after the holidays. Family evicted during holiday week. This person has no place to go. They're going to try to get a storage unit for all their possessions, or they're going to get all their possessions taken too, because if they have no place to go, if you have to go to a shelter, for example, you're not going to be able to take all your furniture, all your belongings. And so it's a double whammy. You lose the roof over your head, and you have no place to put your items unless you can afford a storage unit. And this is happening during the holidays, and yet we have leaders in this country, both the one that's exiting and the new leader. They're not even addressing the situation of the turmoil that so many people are facing, right? The last presidents discussed the stock market and bragged about the stock market, right? How many people in the homeless shelters and in tent cities are celebrating the stock market right now? Right, and it's very easy to sit back and criticize these people that lost their residences, whether they're renters or homeowners. And you could say it's their fault. They wasted their money. They they're not wise. All right, but this can happen to anybody. You can get injured. You could have an unexpected medical bill, which can run in the hundreds of thousands of dollars. With today's, the cost of medical is outrageous. You could very easily lose a job. You can be self-employed. Your customer base dwindles because so many job losses, economic devastation. This can happen to any one of us, and I do see a lot of people out there that just seem to write this off as you probably heard the quote, "It can never happen to me." Well, I think this type of thing is going to be spreading more and more and more. And imagine having to go to one of these tent cities or these homeless encampments and then having a sweep, and everybody has to get up, you have to move your tents. Cal Anderson to clear homeless encampments and protesters from the park. So there's people out there trying to protest the sweeping of these camps, where they just wipe up the tents, they trash them, you lose your tent, you lose your possessions, and you walk away with whatever you can carry on your back. It's pretty sad. Excerpt here from this article: Seattle police in riot gear and accompanied by armored vehicles and chainsaws to cut through makeshift barriers entered this park at 8 a.m. in a sweep anticipated for days but met with little resistance. Right? So how many people are prepared to defend themselves in a tent encampment against armored vehicles and police in riot gear? Continues, campers scrambled to clear tents and activists gathered to protect the park camps and protest for homelessness services. Right, it goes on. But think about this, a country that has $30 trillion in debt, and we have not even completed the infrastructure to house people, and we have no plans, we have nothing in place to try to stop what is happening and what's going to happen, and it's going to be even worse, unfortunately. Right? But yet we're sending money to foreign countries. We're doing endless corporate and endless bank bailouts. The defense budget is ever exploding. All right, now they've got the country divided, the worst political division, and the most social unrest that I've ever seen in my lifetime. Right? And what's going to happen when this economic situation continues to unfold, when the moratoriums are no longer there, when everybody is without any sort of protection or moratoriums or eviction prevention plans? What is going to happen? What is going to change the direction of this country? All right, and the police officers, on one hand, you could say they're tyrants, they're evil, they're wicked. All right, but these people have themselves to feed, and they have their family to feed. And when it comes down to it, people are going to choose themselves and their family over your family. So yes, they will try to destroy your life and do their job in order to continue getting their paycheck. That is just human nature. All right, so basically in many different ways we have the population pitted against one another, and nobody's actually looking up at the ruling class, and they're playing America like a fiddle, unfortunately. All right, another story here. This is out of KATU.com. Oregon, extended ban on evictions, but not foreclosures. So think about this. You own a home. You cannot evict your tenant who's not paying, but then you have no protection. You can still get your home foreclosed. Right? So as a landlord, as a homeowner, hopefully you can sell the home, considering you have a tenant that will not get out. And if you think about it, that could easily evolve into another violent situation. You have this home that you'd like to maybe sell as a homeowner, as a landlord. Your tenant's not paying, and it's going to really decrease the chances of the home selling when you have a tenant that's not willing to budge, and a tenant that's protected from an eviction a ban on evictions. Right, so I'm sure you can see where I'm headed here. There's a lot of different sad and tragic events that could unfold as we see this economy continue to fall apart, as the debt continues to explode, record deficits. People have hope that a new administration is going to come in and change this. And what I have to say is, come on, man. Come on, man. Do you really think there's going to be some sort of rescue package that's going to change the course of this situation? It's not looking good, folks. Continue to prepare. This could happen to any one of us. Okay, hope everyone listening is warm and safe and protected, but continue to use caution, prepare. We're going to see a lot more ugly events happening, and to me this is real scary. We have millions of people in this country that are right on the verge, right on the edge financially, and this land, what we call land of the free, could turn into a land of the nightmares. And this country is not going to look the same here. I think in the very, very near future we need to prepare. Stay well, stay safe. Everybody, bye for now.